Alright, you lot. No top 10 this week, because we got something we need to talk about. You're not gonna believe absolute bollocks Activision has been pulling right under our noses. Turns out Ricochet Anti-Cheat is as real as my chances of winning lottery. Which is to say, not at all. Call of Duty players have been lied to for years, and we've got receipts. BlameTruth just blew the lid off, and today, we're digging even deeper. But before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe and all that bollocks. It helps the channel grow. Let's rip into this disaster, shall we? Alright, let's break this wide open. BlameTruth just dropped what might be biggest bombshell in Call of Duty's history. Ricochet Anti-Cheat is a complete fraud. And I'm not talking about it don't work well fraud. I mean, it actually never existed as they claimed. For years, Activision has paraded Ricochet as the cutting-edge anti-cheat system, supposedly using machine learning and kernel-level detection to permanently eliminate cheaters. But what if I told you that were all just marketing fluff? Cause here's where things get really sketchy. BlameTruth dug up a brand new job listing, one for Senior Director of Game Security at Activision. And guess what? This position has never existed before. That's right, company that's been pushing Ricochet Anti-Cheat since 2021 never even had a lead overseeing anti-cheat operations. So let's get this straight. They've been banning tens of thousands of players, supposedly improving Ricochet and fighting back against cheaters with no actual team running system. This job listing proves one or two things. One, Activision never had a dedicated anti-cheat team, and Ricochet has been naught but AI-driven PR nonsense. And two, they've known the system's a joke and they're only now scrambling to fix it cause player base is in freefall. But it gets even worse. Another YouTuber, Sub1KD, took this even further, digging into LinkedIn and Activision's job history to find evidence that Ricochet wasn't its own department at all. Instead, it was lumped under something called Product Security Test Center. Translation: same people responsible for making sure nobody hacks your Activision account are also ones supposedly leading charge against cheaters. That's like hiring a security guard to run national security. And what does this tell us? Ricochet is, at best, a rudimentary AI that's been left on autopilot for years. At worst, never actually functioned at all. And before you think this is some conspiracy theory nonsense, let's talk about Activision's biggest lie yet, ban waves. You've seen it before. Team Ricochet has banned 19,000 cheaters. They blast it all over X, patting themselves on back, acting like they've done something, but here's the problem. There's zero proof bans even happened. And it's not just a theory. Nadeshot, one of the biggest names in gaming, straight up called Activision's bluff. A few months ago, Activision claimed they wiped out 19,000 ranked play cheaters in a massive ban wave. But Nadeshot, like a proper detective, went looking for proof. He asked his community for an updated screenshot at top 250 ranked play leaderboard. You know, leaderboard that was supposed to be cleansed of cheaters. And what did he find? Same spin-botting, wall-hacking, rage-cheating rats are still there. Not only that, but some worse cheaters are sitting comfortably in top ranks. Completely untouched. Let that sink in for a second. Activision publicly claimed they banned 19,000 accounts, but when a major content creator fact-checked them, he found zero evidence that alt changed. And that's when Nadeshot called them for what they are, liars. His exact words, complete propaganda. And this is where things start to get even more suspicious. How come they never short-banned accounts? Why do cheaters never seem to actually disappear? Why does it always feel like game is just as bad, if not worse, after every ban wave? Cause see, it's truth. Activision don't actually want to stop cheaters. Think about it. If cheating were completely gone, what would happen? Less people would rebuy game after a ban. Fewer players would spend money on new accounts. They couldn't artificially balance skill-based matchmaking by throwing in a few cheaters to keep casuals engaged. It's all a business model. And now that we know Ricochet were never properly managed, it makes perfect sense. They never had infrastructure to ban cheaters in first place. So now the real question is, if Ricochet were never actually doing alt, then what hell have they been doing with anti-cheat funding? Well, buckle up, because this is where things go from bad to full-blown dystopian nightmare. First up, AI instead of actual developers. You'd think with billions they make off microtransactions, they'd actually invest in hiring real people to manage security and build better anti-cheat protections. Nope, they're cutting corners left and right by shoving AI into every aspect of the game. AI-generated skins, AI-generated artwork, AI-generated marketing copy, and yeah, an AI-driven anti-cheat system with no human oversight. They don't want to pay developers, so they let an AI half-ass everything instead. And guess what? Steam caught them. Steam forced Activision to admit Call of Duty used AI-generated assets. Not for experimental stuff, but for actual in-game content. So instead of investing in actual cheat detection and banning players properly, they're throwing cash at AI-generated filler while the game falls apart at seams. Second, Battle Pass and microtransaction blow. Look at sheer volume of skins and bundles being pumped into Call of Duty. New ultra-rare operator skins that cost 30 quid. Weapon skins locked behind 3 different premium bundles. Battle passes that shove limited time FOMO bullshit in your face constantly. Meanwhile, the game itself is broken. Desync is worse than ever. Servers feel like they're being held together by blue tack and duct tape. Matchmaking's an absolute joke. Because see, it's truth. They don't give a shit if gameplay's good. They just need you to keep spending. And third, inflating player numbers with bots. And here's a little tinfoil hat moment. But tell me this, you ever loaded into a game of Warzone or multiplayer and noticed players acting weirdly robotic? It's not just bad AI teammates in DMZ. Some players are convinced Warzone's already filled with bots to artificially pad player numbers. Think about it. Real players leave in droves. Activision don't want to show declining player counts. What's stopping them from throwing AI-controlled players into lobbies to make it seem like game's alive? And before you call it crazy, EA were caught doing it in Battlefield 2042. You really think Activision won't pull the same sleazy move? Bottom line, they're not fixing cheating cause they don't have to. They're making money hand over fist with microtransactions. They're cutting costs by shoving AI into everything. They're inflating engagement numbers however they can. And when GTA 6 drops, when players finally wake up, when House of Cards collapses, you'll remember this moment. Activision killed Call of Duty. Not cheaters, not players, Activision. And trust me, we're not done yet, because we need to talk about something bigger. Something that could mean end of Call of Duty as we know it. Because let's be real, how much longer can this franchise keep limping along before it completely collapses? Right now, Call of Duty's player numbers are worse than they've been in years. Peak Steam player count has plummeted. Engagement is at an all-time low. Even die-hard fans are abandoning ship. And if you think Verdansk is going to save Warzone, you're dreaming. Yeah, people will come back for nostalgia. Yeah, player count will spike for a week. But after that, they'll leave again. Cause no fundamental has changed. Verdansk ain't gonna fix matchmaking. Verdansk ain't gonna stop cheaters. Verdansk ain't gonna make Call of Duty fun again. This is just another desperate attempt to slap a band-aid on a gaping wound. And let's not forget nuclear bomb on horizon, GTA 6. When that game drops, every other title on the market is gonna feel it. Casual players? Gone. Streamers? Gone. Even some hardcore FPS players are going to take a break from COD to play it, and Activision knows this. And that's why they're rushing to shove as much monetization into Call of Duty as they can before Rockstar takes over. That's why they don't care about fixing cheating, because in a year's time, they'll be too busy scrambling to recover from GTA 6 obliterating the entire industry. And if you think next Call of Duty release is going to turn things around, I got bad news for you. From what's leaked, Black Ops 6 is shaping up to be another nostalgia-bait, microtransaction-infested cash grab. Recycled Black Ops 2 maps. Battle Pass stuff with pay-to-win blueprints. Absolutely no meaningful changes to how game plays. It's Modern Warfare 3 all over again. Except now we're big fat helping our AI-generated content and even more broken matchmaking system. It's same tired cycle, and players are finally waking up to it. Think about this. What's the last time Call of Duty were actually loved by the majority of players? Modern Warfare 2019? Had potential but went downhill fast. Cold War? Divisive at best. Vanguard? Complete joke. Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3? Cash grabs disguised as full-price sequel. Franchise has been on a downward spiral for years. And now, sitting rock bottom. And worst part? Activision don't care. Because as long as people keep buying bundles, keep chasing FOMO, keep believing same recycled marketing garbage, they'll keep getting away with it. But cracks are finally starting to show. This is beginning at end. And once bubble bursts, Call of Duty will never be the same again. So what happens next? What does this mean for you, players still here? Look, I'm not going to tell you to quit outright. I'm not your mum, but I will say this. If you're frustrated, you're tired of cheaters, if you're sick of feeling like a cash machine instead of a player, maybe it's time to move on. There are plenty of better shooters out there. Hell, even older Call of Duty titles offer a better experience than this microtransaction-infested mess. At the end of the day, you vote with your time and your wallet. If you keep playing and spending money, Activision will never change. If you walk away, they'll have to wake up. But here's the thing, I'm not convinced they ever will. So is Call of Duty dead? Not yet. But it's dying. And when GTA 6 launches and players finally have an alternative, we're going to see just how much of this player base were only here because they had no better to do. So unless Activision radically changes its approach, this franchise is going to spiral even further into irrelevance. And when that happens, I'll be here to say, told you so. But what can you do? First off, don't give these clowns your money. Skip Battle Pass. Ignore overpriced skins. Stop believing the bullshit promises. Instead, support better games. Support developers that actually respect players. Most importantly, stay informed. That's why people like myself, BlameTruth, Foley and many other channels do these videos. So you don't get fooled. Now here's what you can do right now. Drop a comment below. Are you still playing Call of Duty? Or are you finally done with this nonsense? Join Discord, chat with like-minded players who actually know what's going on. Follow me on X, where I chat gaming nonsense all for fun of it, all day, every day. Become a channel member, support channel and help me keep calling out these industry frauds. All links are in description. Smash that like button, hit subscribe and leave your comments and questions below. Might just feature them on channel. And I'll see you in part 2, you magnificent.